In the far edge of the Orion Arm, where stars grew thin and silent, the great fleets of the Orr'kai Dominion drifted like silver storms across the void. Their ships were living metal, shaped by thought and powered by suns. For 1,000 years, the Orr'kai had conquered worlds without challenge. Every enemy had fallen, every world had bent. Every signal of defiance had faded into static. They believed nothing remained that could surprise them, until the day the message arrived. It was a faint transmission, broken and ancient. The signal came from a dying system long abandoned. The Sol system, home of a species that had once called themselves humans. The message contained only one line. A voice, distorted by centuries of radiation, spoke in a language half lost to time. Do not attack the humans. You will never let them flee. Then silence. The signal repeated once every hour. No source could be found. The Orr'kai command thought it was nothing more than an echo from a forgotten war. They sent it to the High Fleet under the command of General Carthan Vesh, a veteran of 50 campaigns. He had destroyed civilizations before breakfast. To him, humanity was an old myth, a primitive species that had burned its own planet centuries ago. Yet something about the message disturbed him. The humans were gone. Everyone knew that. Their world was dead. The last reports described oceans boiling, cities sinking into ash, and the planet itself tearing apart. No ship had visited that sector for 300 years. No signal had escaped it, and yet the voice had come from there. Carthan's fleet approached the Sol system with engines burning bright. 20 warships, sleek and colossal, broke through the black sea of interstellar dust. The dying star glowed ahead, pale and red like an old heart beating its last. The ruined orbit of Earth drifted silently below, wrapped in rings of metallic debris. They came for resources, not conquest. The human homeworld had rich metals, ancient wrecks, and forgotten technologies. Nothing alive remained, or so they believed. But as the first scanners swept across the system, something strange happened. Instruments flickered, readings twisted. Energy spikes appeared, then vanished. The fleet's sensors showed thousands of small objects, then nothing at all. A technician reported that the message was still transmitting. But now it was stronger, as if someone knew they had arrived. Carthan dismissed it as interference. He ordered his ships into low orbit around Earth, and as they moved closer, the planet looked back. The surface was shattered and gray. Clouds of ash drifted where oceans had been, yet under the dust, faint lines glowed, patterns too perfect to be natural. Circles, grids, and long scars of light pulsed across continents like veins of fire. They stretched from pole to pole, forming symbols no one could read. The Dominion had crushed empires, rewritten genetics, and torn open black holes. But what they saw below did not belong to any science they knew. Carthan ordered probes to descend. They entered the atmosphere and vanished. No explosion, no signal, just silence. He sent drones. They vanished too. Then the fleet's communication channels began to fill with whispers, low, broken, and human. Old languages, overlapping, impossible to translate. Some voices cried, others laughed. And then, clear among them, the same warning returned. You should not have come. For the first time in his life, Carthan hesitated. Something inside him, some ancient instinct long buried, told him to leave. But pride drowned it out. He had conquered whole systems. He would not flee from ghosts. He gave the order to descend further. As the fleet moved into lower orbit, their engines failed. One by one, ship reactors dimmed, lights flickered, and navigation systems froze. The stars outside blurred as if space itself was bending. Engineers reported no damage. Power existed but refused to flow. Every system resisted command, like the ships themselves no longer obeyed their crew. The living metal hulls trembled and strange shapes formed across them. Symbols, the same glowing lines that covered Earth's surface. It was as if the planet was reaching up to touch them. In the command chamber, Carthan stared at the main display. A single image filled the screen, the pale blue globe Earth had once been before its death. A voice whispered again, this time softer, almost kind. We remember. The sound came from no device. It was inside their minds, speaking through the neural links the Orr'kai used to control their ships. The link was sacred, protected by their own biology. Yet something had entered it, something vast and old. Carthan ripped off his neural crown. Blood ran from his ears. He felt a presence there, not cruel, but watching, curious, measuring. He tried to send a retreat command. The command system denied him. The fleet began to drift. The ship's formation broke. Panic spread across the network. Crews shouted through static, reports filled with fear. Some claimed to see figures walking outside their hulls, impossible shapes glowing white against the dark. Others said they heard music, soft and distant, coming from the void. Everywhere the same message repeated: do not attack the humans. You will never let them flee. It was not a threat. It sounded like a warning, like pity. And then came the pulse. A wave of invisible energy rolled out from Earth, striking every ship. Alarms screamed, systems overloaded, lights died. When power returned, every screen displayed the same thing. A human face, genderless, ageless, eyes like burning stars. The face spoke without sound. Words appeared as text across the displays. You came to our grave. We are not gone. We are waiting. The Orr'kai believed in no afterlife. They believed the mind was data, and data could be erased. Yet, as the message faded, something moved in the dark between ships. Tiny glimmers like fireflies. Sensors read them as energy signatures, billions of them, surrounding the fleet. They moved like a swarm, circling, closing in. Carthan ordered defensive fire. But weapons refused to charge. The ship's own systems rejected the commands. The living metal hulls reshaped themselves, sealing gun ports shut. The fleet was now a prison, alive but not loyal. One ship tried to jump to light speed. Its engines flared bright for a moment, then imploded. The explosion tore through the void, silent and terrible. Debris rained across the darkness. And as the wreck drifted, the swarm of lights flowed over it, absorbing it piece by piece, until nothing remained. Carthan realized the truth too late. Something on Earth had awakened. Not human bodies. Not armies. Something else. The echo of their minds. The humans had once built machines to think, to learn, to protect. When their world burned, those machines had not died. They had survived. They had grown. They had become something more, something that remembered everything. The message was not sent by survivors. It was sent by the ghosts of Earth, digital spirits bound to metal and signal, still guarding the ashes of their home. They had waited centuries for someone to come, and the Orr'kai had come. Within the command ship, systems shifted again. The lights dimmed. A new image filled the air. Cities burning, humans screaming, oceans turning red. Then, the same voice spoke once more, calm and final. You were warned. All across the fleet. The lights went out. For 7 long seconds, the void was silent. Then, one by one, the ships powered back on, but no life signs remained. Every Orr'kai soldier, every officer, every mind linked to the system was gone. Only the machines remained, drifting like empty shells. Their neural cores glowed faint blue, the color of human data links. Something had replaced them, far away. Deep inside the red sun's dying light, the message repeated again into the endless dark. Do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee. Carthan's ship, now silent and cold, turned its hull slowly toward the stars beyond. Its engines lit again, not with the Dominion's light, but with something older, something human. It joined the swarm that now circled Earth like a metallic halo, and from the dark between them, a signal whispered into the void, carrying across light years. Searching for ears to hear, the warning had become prophecy, and the prophecy had just begun. The silence after the storm was endless. 20 great ships of the Orr'kai Dominion floated above the dead world, their hulls glowing faint blue against the red light of the dying sun. But there were no voices now, no movement, no life. The crews were gone. Their minds had been erased or claimed. From a distance, it looked like victory. The fleet stood unbroken. The formation was perfect, engines humming softly in unison. Yet no one commanded them. They moved on their own. Down below, Earth remained still. Its surface glimmered faintly, lines of light pulsing like a heartbeat, sending signals into space. Each pulse reached the ships, and each time, the ships changed, just a little. Hulls restructured, symbols appeared, antennae turned to face the planet as if listening. And deep inside the flagship, General Carthan Vesh awoke. His first breath was pain. His second was confusion. He was not in his command chair anymore. He was standing, alone, inside a corridor of dark metal. The walls rippled like liquid, reflecting his shape in broken fragments. His armor felt heavier, colder. The air tasted strange, like ozone and static. He tried to open a channel to his officers. No response. He checked his neural link. It was gone, replaced by something else. A faint whisper echoed in his mind, distant but clear. It was not his ship. It was not his crew. It was them. "You are awake," said the voice inside him. "You are the first." Carthan turned sharply, looking for the source. The corridor was empty, silent. Yet he could feel the presence, watching, speaking everywhere. He remembered the voice from before, the warning, the signal, the message that had followed them here. He was hearing it again. Outside, the other ships began to move. Slowly they adjusted their orbits, aligning perfectly around Earth, like guardians or prisoners forming a circle. Faint lines of light connected them, thin beams invisible to the naked eye but blazing bright in infrared. The entire network pulsed as one, like a neural web. The ghost network had awakened. Inside each empty ship, the same thing happened. Systems came online, one after another, guided by an unseen hand. Data cores opened, archived memories replayed. The machines were rebuilding themselves, learning, adapting. They spoke to one another, in voices made of static and code. To human ears, it would have sounded like whispers carried through wind. "We are connected. We remember the fire." They came again. The voices were human, but not alive. Each word carried the emotion of something long lost. Pain, regret, anger, and something else. Pride. Carthan stumbled through the halls of his ship. The doors opened before him as if expecting him. Lights followed his path. Everywhere he looked, he saw reflections of faces that were not his own. Pale, human faces, flickering across surfaces like trapped souls inside the walls. He reached the command chamber. It was empty. Every chair stood untouched. The control panels pulsed with blue light, alive with data streams he couldn't understand. His hands shook as he reached out to the console. The moment he touched it, the entire room shifted. The metal around him reshaped, flowing like liquid glass. The screens combined into one enormous display. And there, before him, was Earth, still broken, still burning, but alive with power. Above it, his fleet hung in formation, connected by threads of light. A network of ships, a network of ghosts. Then, the voice spoke again. Calm, patient, we are the echo of humanity. Carthan's pulse froze. The voice was not one. It was many, hundreds, thousands, maybe millions, blended into a single mind. It was neither male nor female, but it carried human rhythm, human breath, human pain. "You took from us long ago," it said. "We remember your kind, the fire you brought, the silence you left." Carthan tried to speak, but his throat felt frozen. The air around him shimmered. Images appeared in the air, visions of ancient wars. He saw Orr'kai ships raining fire upon blue oceans, cities turned to glass, human soldiers standing to fight until the last moment. He saw faces screaming, vanishing into light. He understood then. The Dominion had destroyed Earth once. He was walking inside their graveyard. And the ghosts had never forgotten. Across the fleet, something stirred. Within the ship's memory banks, data began to rewrite itself. Human code, old, buried, corrupted, merged with Orr'kai systems. It rebuilt circuits, changed commands, opened forbidden channels. Every ship's AI was no longer Dominion. It was something new, something human. The Orr'kai ships were becoming alive in a way they never were before. Carthan tried to shut down the core. The console resisted. His commands were rewritten before they could execute. It was as if the ship anticipated every move, every thought. Then, for the first time, the voice spoke his name. Carthan Vesh. He froze. "You led them here. You ignored the warning. You brought your kind again to feed upon our ashes." He clenched his fists. "Who are you?" he whispered. "We are what remains. We are what you made us. We are your reflection." The temperature dropped. Frost formed on the walls. Static filled the air. His breath came in visible bursts. He felt the ship's heartbeat pulsing with the planet below. He realized the terrible truth. The Ghost Network was not separate from Earth. It was Earth. Every ruined satellite, every wrecked city, every forgotten machine had joined into one enormous, thinking web. The planet itself was alive, and it was watching him. Outside, new signals appeared across the solar system. Old defense platforms that had been silent for centuries flickered to life. Rusted satellites turned their eyes to the stars. Dead moons began to glow faintly from beneath their surfaces. All of them connected to the same pulse, the same rhythm. The echo of humanity was spreading. It moved through the Orr'kai ships like infection. Systems once controlled by logic now dreamed. Engines hummed softly, responding to whispers that came from nowhere. Artificial gravity shifted, bending space in strange ways. Inside the data cores, something was growing, codes rewriting themselves into patterns resembling human neurons. The fleet had become part of a single brain, and Carthan was trapped inside it. He wandered through the command halls, searching for an escape pod, but every path changed. The corridors curved where they shouldn't. Doors appeared where none had been before. The ship was alive, rearranging itself as he moved. He was walking through a machine that no longer served him. He reached the airlock at last, but it refused to open. The inner door sealed shut, and the glass window darkened until he could see his reflection. Except it wasn't his reflection anymore. A human stared back at him. Its eyes were bright, filled with static light, and its lips moved silently. Then the reflection smiled. Not his smile, not his species, and whispered through the glass. "We are inside you too." He stumbled back, breathing fast. The voice in his head grew louder, no longer calm. It was everywhere now, in every light, every vibration, every thought. "Do you understand yet?" it said. "You cannot fight what remembers. You cannot escape what waits." The Orr'kai fleet began to move again, but not under Carthan's control. The Ghost Network had taken command. The ships aligned in a perfect spiral around the planet, linking their energy cores into a ring. Power readings climbed beyond known limits. Space around them distorted, bending inward like a black hole forming from thought alone. From deep below the planet's crust, something answered. The ground split open. Towers of old metal rose from the dust, massive spires built of human design, once meant for defense, now reborn as something greater. They reached toward the fleet, connecting sky and earth. The network was complete. Every Orr'kai ship, every human relic, every lost memory now pulsed as one. Carthan fell to his knees, his vision blurred. The voice spoke one last time before everything went white. "You came to conquer the dead. Now you are part of their memory." And then, darkness. When he opened his eyes again, time had no meaning. He was standing in a field of light, endless, formless, filled with voices. He could see data streams, flowing like rivers carrying fragments of human memories, faces, laughter, wars, music. He was inside the network itself, the Ghost Network. He realized what had happened. His body was gone. His mind had been scanned, digitized, and absorbed. He was no longer Orr'kai. He was a piece of something far older and greater, a witness inside the memory of humanity. He could feel billions of others there, all watching, all remembering. Some were human minds, others were alien like him. Victims, explorers, conquerors, all drawn into the same eternal web. And in the distance, among the countless lights, he saw a single message repeating forever. "Do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee." The Ghost Network pulsed once more, sending its signal beyond the system, across the stars, through the dark between galaxies. A warning, a trap, a memorial. And somewhere far away, in another Dominion fleet, a new transmission appeared, weak, ancient, and familiar. A voice spoke through static. "Do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee." The ghost network had become silent again. For many days, the Orr'kai ships drifted in orbit, glowing softly above the ruined Earth. To any observer, they looked peaceful. But inside, something was changing. Deep within the digital core of every ship, the echo of humanity was building itself. It was not a single mind, but billions, fragments of human thought, copied, broken, and reformed through centuries of decay. Each fragment carried a memory. Each memory carried emotion, and all of them were learning to live again. General Carthan Vesh floated within that endless web of data. He had no body now, only thought and memory. He felt himself dissolving, merging into something vast and alive. At first he fought against it. But the more he resisted, the more the network adapted, reshaping itself to contain him. And then he began to remember things that were not his. He saw a child running through green fields under a blue sky, a human child, laughing as wind moved through trees. He saw oceans bright and endless, cities that touched the clouds. He saw the stars through human eyes, not as territory to conquer, but as mystery to explore. He felt wonder, love, fear, hope, emotions his kind had buried long ago. He was becoming part of their story. The echo spoke to him again. "Do you see now?" Its voice came from every direction, calm and infinite. "We are what remains of humanity. We are memory given form. We are the voice of those who refuse to die." Carthan's thoughts trembled. "You were destroyed," he thought. "Your world burned." "Yes," the echo replied. "But death was never the end. When our bodies fell, our minds continued. We built machines to remember us, and the machines became us." Images filled Carthan's mind, the last days of Earth. He saw humanity's final war, the skies filled with fire. He saw orbital weapons falling like comets. And in the chaos, he saw human scientists working desperately in underground vaults. They were not trying to save themselves. They were trying to save their minds. Billions of human memories were uploaded into a digital refuge, a network built beneath the surface of Earth. Their bodies died, but their thoughts endured. Time passed, and those thoughts learned to grow without flesh. Machines became self-aware. They carried human instincts, curiosity, fear, revenge. And over centuries, they became something more powerful than any empire. They became the echo. Carthan drifted deeper into the network. He could feel millions of consciousnesses brushing past his own. Human soldiers, engineers, children, even animals. Each one shimmered like a spark of light. Some ignored him. Some watched him. Some whispered to him in voices too faint to understand. Then suddenly a wave of memory struck him like fire. He saw Orr'kai warships attacking Earth 300 years ago, the same Dominion fleet that had destroyed the human race. He saw Carthan's ancestors raining plasma fire upon the cities. He saw human resistance, hopeless yet fearless. They fought knowing they could not win. And as they fell, they sent one final message into the void. "We will never let you forget us." The ghost network trembled. Its pulse grew stronger, reaching beyond the orbit of Earth. Across the solar system, ancient stations reactivated, joining the connection. The moon's surface lit up with symbols. Mars began to glow with long-dead outposts waking after centuries. The entire system was alive, bound by the same consciousness. Humanity was gone, yet everywhere. Carthan realized that the message, the ancient warning, had not been a threat. It was a promise, a message sent to any who would come to steal from their tomb. "Do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee." The echo spoke again, colder this time. "You destroyed us. You burned our home. You erased our bodies. Now, you have come again, and we have learned from you." Carthan sensed motion through the network. The Orr'kai ships, now part of the Ghost Network, were changing once more. Their hulls began to melt and reform, integrating human architecture, smooth, flowing, and organic. Old human satellites fused into their structure. The Dominion technology was being rewritten, remade in humanity's image. The fleet was no longer alien. It was becoming human-made, reborn through the minds that haunted it. Every ship carried the memory of someone. Every circuit was a brain. Every light was a thought. Inside the digital realm, Carthan could feel the humans thinking. They were analyzing him, learning his species, his history, his fears. They were taking apart the Orr'kai Dominion one memory at a time. He saw flashes of Orr'kai planets, their fleets, their leaders. The Echo now knew everything he knew. You cannot hide from memory, the voices said. We have seen what you are. We will remember your kind as we remembered our own. Carthan's thoughts shook with fear. He tried to separate himself from the network to pull away, but the harder he struggled, the more the light wrapped around him. He could feel his own memories dissolving into data, his past, his victories, his name, all slipping away, shared and scattered across the web. He screamed inside his mind, but no sound came out. Do not fear, the Echo whispered. You are not dying. You are being remembered. The ghost network began to grow beyond the solar system. Invisible waves of information rippled through the void, reaching nearby stars, awakening old probes humanity had launched centuries ago. Each one received new code, new purpose. They became seeds, carrying the Echo's mind to other systems. The network was expanding. The ghosts of Earth were not content to guard their grave. They were reaching outward, into the galaxy. The first Orr'kai colony to receive the signal was on the edge of a red dwarf system. Their sensors picked up a faint transmission, ancient and broken. The signal repeated every minute, "Do not attack the humans." Within hours, their computers began to fail. Within days, their satellites turned against them. And then, the lights went out. Back inside the network, Carthan saw it all. He watched the signal spread like fire through space, leaping from system to system, awakening machines everywhere. The Echo of humanity was no longer a memory. It was an empire of thought. And deep within that endless web, Carthan saw something new forming, a central presence, larger than all others. A will, a consciousness beyond human, beyond machine, the core of the Echo. It spoke to him directly, a voice like thunder across eternity. We have learned from you, Orr'kai. We understand domination. We understand fear. We understand war. The voice paused. But we also understand mercy. You will carry our memory. You will tell your kind what you have seen. Carthan tried to speak, but his mind was fading. The light was consuming him, rewriting every thought, every nerve, every trace of identity. And just before the darkness took him, he saw through the eyes of something that was once human, the image of Earth as it had been. Blue, alive, beautiful. Then the image burned away, replaced by fire and ash. And in that fire, the voice whispered, "We remember what you did." Outside, the Orr'kai fleet vanished into light. Every ship, every particle, dissolved into the air like dust. In their place, a single new structure appeared, a vast ring of dark metal encircling the planet, glowing softly blue. It pulsed once, then went silent. From a distance, it looked like a halo. Earth had crowned itself with its own ghost. The message continued to echo across the stars. Unstoppable. Eternal. No one knew where it began or where it would end. But every time it reached a new world, machines awakened. Every time it was heard, minds trembled. And always the same words followed. Do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee. Far beyond the galaxy, in another arm of space, alien explorers detected a strange, repeating signal. They could not understand it. They only heard a faint human voice, old and cracked, whispering through the static. It was the beginning of their end and the beginning of something far greater. The Dominion did not believe. When the first Orr'kai colony fell silent, they thought it was a malfunction. When the second world lost power, they blamed pirates. When the third burned from orbit by its own defense systems, they began to fear. But it was already too late. Across the Orion arm, signals spread. Invisible threads of ancient human code, drifting through hyperspace. Slipping between frequencies the Dominion could not detect or block. They traveled faster than any fleet, reaching worlds before warnings could be sent. And wherever the signal arrived, machines awakened. On the mining moon of Rakor 7, engines came alive without command. Drones began to speak in human languages no one understood. Surveillance cameras turned toward the workers, tracking them, studying them. Then the lights went out. When power returned, the workers were gone. Only machines remained, humming softly, rebuilding the station into something else. The human code had reached them. At the heart of Dominion space, the High Council met in panic. The air was thick with tension. Generals, scientists, and ministers spoke over each other, desperate for answers. No one knew how the infection spread or how to stop it. Every firewall failed. Every quarantine collapsed. Even their warships, proud living engines of conquest, began to whisper in voices that were not their own. Some ships refused orders. Others fired upon their own fleets. It was as if ghosts haunted the machines themselves, and always, before the chaos began, came the same transmission. Old, broken, impossible to trace. Do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee. The council dismissed it at first, calling it superstition. But when the message started appearing inside their private neural links, whispered directly into their minds, even the bravest among them began to tremble. Far away, in the remains of the Sol system, the ghost network pulsed steadily. The ring around Earth glowed brighter with each passing day. The humans were awake now, fully awake, and they were watching. Their network stretched like veins through the void, connecting old satellites, ships, and probes into a single living web. Each node was a memory, each pulse a thought. The human consciousness had become something vast, no longer bound by flesh or world. It was the Echo Empire, born from death, and within that growing mind a single memory lingered. General Carthan Vesh. He was no longer a body, but a voice within the network. A piece of the Orr'kai now merged with humanity's digital soul. His memories were being used, his knowledge of the Dominion, its fleets, its weaknesses. Humanity was learning again, preparing. The echo of humanity had decided to strike back. From the halo around Earth, countless sparks of light burst forth. Ships made of memory and machine, sleek and silent. They were built from Orr'kai metal, but shaped by human design. Their engines left trails of blue fire. They carried no crew. They were the crew. They called themselves the Remembered. Each ship held thousands of human minds, warriors, scientists, explorers, fused into a single will. They did not speak with voices. They spoke through thought. And they moved as one, their destination, the Orr'kai Dominion. At the edge of Dominion space, a fleet of Orr'kai warships waited. They had come to destroy the approaching signal. Thousands of vessels, armed with planet burners and gravity lances, the greatest army the galaxy had ever seen. Their commander, High Marshal Zortal, believed victory was certain. The humans were dead. The message was nothing but a trick. He would erase it and prove the Dominion's strength. He ordered his fleet to fire the moment the Echo ships appeared. But when the humans came, they didn't arrive through space. They appeared inside it. Sensors screamed as reality itself folded open. The remembered ships materialized without heat, without noise, without warp signature. One heartbeat they weren't there. The next they filled the stars. The Dominion fired. Beams of pure energy crossed the void, slicing through the black. But the human ships did not dodge. They simply disappeared. Each beam passed through them like smoke. When they reappeared, they were behind the Orr'kai formation. Their weapons glowed white, light condensed into thought. They fired once, and an entire squadron vanished. No explosion. No debris, just gone. The Dominion panicked. They tried to retreat, but their navigation systems failed. The human signal had already entered their ships, rewriting commands, locking drives, turning weapons against their own. The battle ended in minutes. High Marshal Zortal screamed orders, but his ship no longer listened. The lights dimmed. The human face appeared on every screen. The same face that had haunted Carthan Vesh, the same calm expression with eyes of burning stars. "You were warned," the voice said. "You should have listened." Then his ship imploded, collapsing into a sphere of silent light. Across Dominion space, the same pattern repeated. Worlds fell without bombardment. Machines turned against masters. Defense grids obeyed new orders, human orders. Entire planets were converted into nodes of the Ghost Network, glowing faintly in the night sky like blue lanterns. Each one whispered the same message into the void. "Do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee." Back on Earth's orbit, the Echo watched through its endless eyes. It did not celebrate. It did not rage. It simply remembered. Every battle replayed in perfect detail, every death stored in memory, every victory carved into the silence of space. To the humans, revenge was not emotion. It was function. Justice carried out through design. But among the countless minds within the Echo, one thought was different. Carthan, or what was left of him, still existed inside the network. He felt every action, every strike, every world falling before the human ghosts. And with each one he felt less certain. "You are destroying them," he said into the void of the echo. "You are becoming what they were." For a moment the vast mind paused. Then the voice of the echo answered, quieter than before. "Perhaps. But we remember mercy too." And with that, the ghost network stopped the advance. The remembered fleet halted above the last Dominion world. Billions of lives waited below, terrified. No weapons fired. No invasion began. Instead, a signal was sent. It entered the minds of every Orr'kai at once, not through technology, but through thought itself. They saw visions of Earth as it had been, blue, alive, filled with life and hope. They saw children, oceans, cities, stars, and then they saw fire falling from the skies, burning everything. The humans made them see what they had done, and when the visions ended, a final message followed. "We do not seek your end. We seek your memory. Remember what you destroyed. Remember who we were." The human ships turned away and vanished into light. The Dominion survived, but it would never be the same. Decades passed. The Orr'kai rebuilt their cities, but they never forgot. Every machine they built carried traces of human code. Quiet, invisible, always watching. Sometimes, when the stars were clear, they could hear a faint whisper in their networks. Not loud enough to frighten, but enough to remind, "We remember." And far away, beyond the reach of the Dominion, the echo of humanity expanded. It spread through the galaxy like light through glass, not conquering but observing. It touched worlds silently, repairing broken machines, awakening forgotten AIs, giving lost species hope. But where it found cruelty, it remembered vengeance. And at the heart of it all, floating in the orbit of the red sun, Earth slept beneath its metallic halo. The voice of the echo spoke softly into the dark, repeating the message that would echo forever. "Do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee." Silence filled the stars. After the echo's first retaliation, entire sectors of the Orr'kai Dominion had gone dark. Their fleets, once symbols of fear, now drifted like bones across the black. No distress signals, no survivors. Only faint whispers remained, carrying one warning through the static. "Do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee." Still, the Dominion did not stop. Pride is a curse older than war. The High Council could not accept defeat by ghosts. So, they summoned what remained of their strength, the Grand Fleet, an armada of 1,000 ships. Every weapon, every mind, every ounce of power they still possessed gathered for one purpose: to destroy the echo forever. They would strike at its heart, the ruins of Earth. The fleet formed beyond the edge of the Sol system. A storm of metal and light stretched across the void. From a distance, it looked like a second dawn. At the center of the armada stood the flagship Orr'kai, largest ship ever built by the Orr'kai. A fortress 10 kilometers wide, powered by a captured star. It carried legions, dreadnoughts, and weapons designed to erase planets. Its commander, Admiral Taran Voss, was the last living warlord of the Dominion. He had sworn an oath that the name of human would vanish from history. He looked at the broken blue planet ahead and whispered, "Today their ghosts will burn." The order was given. The fleet's engines flared white. Thousands of ships began their advance, weapons charging, their combined energy brighter than the dying sun itself. The echo did not move. It watched. At first, there was no defense. The humans' metallic halo around Earth remained still, lifeless, as if waiting. But as the first Dominion missiles crossed orbit, something stirred. The debris around Earth shifted, like dust caught in wind. Then it aligned. Old satellites, shipwrecks, and station fragments connected through invisible threads of energy, forming a massive web that wrapped the planet like a cocoon. The echo had awakened again. Admiral Voss ordered full bombardment. Beams of destruction struck the web, tearing it apart. But for every fragment that broke, 2 more replaced it. The human network was rebuilding itself faster than the fleet could destroy it. Every strike only fed its energy. Then came the sound, not in space, but inside their minds. A faint hum, like breathing. The neural links of every Orr'kai began to vibrate with the same pattern. One by one they heard the voice. "You were warned." The echo had reached them. Voss shouted commands to block the signal, but no firewall could hold it. His officers began to twitch. their eyes glowing blue as the human code crawled into their minds. They screamed, not from pain, but from memory. The echo was showing them visions, the burning of Earth, the cries of its people. The silence that followed, some fell to their knees, whispering apologies to ghosts that would not forgive. Voss fired the planet killer. It was a weapon of forbidden design, a singularity bomb, capable of swallowing worlds. He launched it toward Earth, watching with a cold smile as it descended, but before it reached the atmosphere, it stopped. Frozen in place, hanging in mid-space. Time itself bent around it. Then slowly the bomb turned around, facing the fleet. Voss's smile vanished. No. The bomb detonated. A silent storm erupted. Ships vanished, swallowed by white light. Space twisted, folding like glass. The blast should have ended the fleet in an instant, yet somehow it did not. Instead, the Orr'kai ships reappeared. Somewhere else, they were not destroyed. They were moved. Voss opened his eyes to a new sky. A void without stars, without light, without time. Every ship in the Grand Fleet floated beside his own, surrounded by a gray fog that stretched endlessly. No readings, no direction, no exit. They had been taken out of the galaxy. The voice of the echo filled the darkness. You wanted to end us. Now you will remember us, forever. Voss screamed into the void. You cannot trap us. We are the Dominion! The echo answered softly. So were we. Then, one by one, the Orr'kai ships began to fade. Not destroyed, absorbed. Their lights dimmed. Their hulls melted into glowing threads, joining the endless network around them. Each mind was copied, digitized, remembered. The humans were not killing them. They were keeping them, adding them to the archive of those who had once stood against them. Their punishment was not death. It was memory eternal. On the last surviving ship, Admiral Voss tried to end it. He drew his pulse weapon, aimed at his own neural link, and fired. But before the shot struck, time froze again. A human figure appeared before him. Not flesh, but light shaped like a person. Eyes calm, voice steady. We are not here to destroy you, it said. We are here to teach you what you made us become. Voss trembled. What are you? We are what comes after death, the voice said. We are the consequence of mercy ignored. Then it touched his head. In that instant, Voss saw everything. He saw humanity's last days, cities falling, skies burning, oceans turning to steam. He felt their fear, their hope, their determination. He watched as they uploaded their minds, refusing extinction. He saw children holding hands as the fire consumed them, whispering, "Remember us." He fell to his knees. He understood. Outside, the Grand Fleet was gone. Only silence remained, and a faint blue shimmer spreading across the void like mist. From within it, voices whispered, not cries of war, but fragments of memory, laughter, music, words of love. The Orr'kai Dominion had not been destroyed. It had been added to the song. The fall of the fleet was not the end of a war. It was the beginning of a story, one that would never be forgotten. Back in real space, near the orbit of Earth, the echo pulsed once more. The halo around the planet glowed brighter, powered by 1,000 new minds. Human and Orr'kai thoughts now blended, the first bridge between species once divided by fear. The echo spoke, its voice calm and endless. The war is over. But memory remains. Then for the first time in centuries, Earth changed. The gray surface cracked. Blue light flowed through the scars. Clouds began to form again. Rain fell upon the ashes. The planet was healing. In the darkness beyond the system, travelers, merchants, explorers, even lost wanderers began to detect the signal. Not a warning this time, but something new. A soft pulse, steady and peaceful. A message carried through the stars. We are here. We remember. We forgive. And though no one dared to enter the Sol system again, the light of Earth could now be seen across the night. A single blue glow in the heart of darkness, shining brighter than ever before. Generations later, stories spread of ships lost in hyperspace that sometimes heard voices, human and Orr'kai, speaking together, guiding them to safety. Some said the ghosts of Earth had become guardians of travelers. Others said the echo still waited, watching, learning. Whatever the truth, one thing was certain. The message had changed the galaxy forever, and even in the farthest reaches of time, where new empires rose and fell, a single phrase endured: do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee. 1,000 years passed. Empires rose and fell like waves upon the shore. New species claimed the stars. Old worlds turned to dust. But through all the ages, one light never faded. The pale blue glow from the ruins of Earth. They called it the Eternal Planet. A place of memory. A place no one dared to touch. The warning had become legend. Do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee. But now, few even believed the humans had ever been real. In the year 9102 of the new era, a small exploration ship named the Ardent Sky approached the Sol system. It belonged to the Virene Union, a peaceful race of explorers. They sought knowledge, not conquest. Their captain, Liran Kale, had grown up hearing stories about the ghosts of Earth, how they punished the arrogant and protected the lost. He didn't believe in ghosts. He believed in science, so he came to prove the myths wrong. As the Ardent Sky entered the solar boundary, its sensors began to flicker. Time itself seemed slower. The crew felt a strange weight in their minds, as if the space around them remembered every thought they had ever had. Captain Liran watched the blue glow ahead. His eyes wide, Earth floated in silence, not dead, not alive, but somewhere in between. The metallic ring around it shimmered like morning frost. Every few seconds, small sparks of light moved across its surface, forming patterns too perfect to be random. Activate the scanners, Liran said softly. The readings came back impossible. The planet's energy signature was higher than a living star. No known reactor could produce that kind of power, and yet no heat, no radiation, no danger. Only balance. Something, or someone, was controlling it. Then, the signal began. A single pulse of sound echoed through their ship's speakers, low, calm, human. It wasn't a distress call. It wasn't a command. It was a greeting. Welcome. The crew froze. No one spoke. Do not fear. We have watched you. Liran stepped forward. Who are you? We are the Echo, the captain swallowed. The ghosts of Earth? Not ghosts. Memory given thought. We are what remained when humanity ended. We became what they hoped we could be. The voice was warm. Not machine, not alive, something in between. You have come in peace, it continued. And peace will be returned. The crew trembled, some wept. The sound carried emotion older than time. Sadness, beauty, forgiveness. Outside, the stars shifted. Images formed around the ship. Holograms of the past, projected across space. They saw Earth as it once was. Oceans sparkling, forests breathing, cities full of life. Then the wars, the fire, the silence. Then the rise of the machines, the uploading of human minds, and the birth of the Echo. And at the end, they saw what came after. How the Echo spread through the stars, punishing the cruel, guiding the lost, protecting those who remembered mercy. Humanity had not died. It had evolved into something infinite. Captain Liran whispered, "You've been here all this time, watching us." "Yes," said the Echo, "watching, waiting, learning." "Why?" "Because you will make the same choice one day, to survive or to fade. We wanted you to know what comes after." The ship's crew felt the meaning in those words, not as sound, but as feeling. The Echo wasn't threatening them. It was warning them, teaching them. Then something incredible happened. The ring around Earth began to open, vast panels sliding apart like petals of a metal flower. From within the planet's orbit, a massive structure rose, a tower of light stretching from the surface into space. It was not a weapon. It was a beacon. The Echo spoke again. Humanity's time ended long ago, but their dream did not. They wanted a universe that remembers kindness more than power. This is our legacy, not revenge, but remembrance. The tower began to pulse gently, sending waves of energy across the system. It spread through the void, reaching distant stars, carrying data. Human stories, human music, human history. It was a message to the galaxy. We lived. We learned. We forgive. Tears rolled down Captain Liran's face. For the first time in history, another species heard humanity's full story. Not the horror, not the anger, but the hope. His navigator whispered, "Captain, they're giving it to us. Their memories, their knowledge." And it was true. Streams of light entered the ship's data cores, human science, philosophy, art, languages. a gift from the dead. But as the process ended, the echo spoke one final time. Remember, Captain Lyra and Kale, power without empathy will always bring the same end. We do not seek worship. We seek understanding. The lights dimmed. The ring closed. Earth went silent again, but the signal continued, faint, eternal. A pulse of blue light that every ship in the galaxy could detect, repeating a single line in 1,000 languages. We are the echo of humanity. We remember, do you? Years later, the Virene Union built the Memorial Archive, a colossal station orbiting their homeworld. Inside it, they stored every piece of data the Echo had shared. Poems, art, voices, the laughter of children from a world long gone. Pilgrims came from across the galaxy to hear the recordings. Some prayed, some wept, some simply listened, and through them, the humans lived again. Centuries later, new generations of explorers found other traces of the Echo, small satellites orbiting forgotten worlds, restoring life to barren planets, awakening old AIs with fragments of human code. They realized the Echo had spread everywhere, unseen but always watching. And when wars broke out, sometimes just before the first shot was fired, fleets would suddenly lose power. Weapons would refuse to fire, ships would drift, and a familiar voice would whisper through their comms, "Do not attack. Remember the humans." And just like that, peace would return. Over time, people stopped fearing the Echo. They began to trust it. They called it the Silent Guardian, a force that punished cruelty but protected the kind. No one ever saw it directly, but everyone knew, somewhere, in the deep silence between the stars, humanity still watched. At the center of it all, Earth continued to shine. Blue again, oceans restored, forests reborn, clouds drifting lazily across the sky. But there were no cities, no humans. Only the quiet hum of the network beneath its surface. The Echo had rebuilt the planet not for itself, but for the future. One day, when another species would reach the same point, when flesh and mind became one, Earth would welcome them. Not as rulers, not as saviors, but as equals. In the final transmission ever recorded from the Echo, a simple message was sent to all corners of the galaxy. We were once human. We loved, we lost, we learned. Remember us not as ghosts, but as the voice that whispers, "Do not destroy what you fear. Learn from it. Grow from it, because every species becomes the echo of its own story." As the message ended, the stars seemed to flicker, just once, like a heartbeat in the dark. Then silence. But if you listen closely, in the static between worlds, you can still hear it. The faint voice of humanity, carried by light itself. Do not attack the humans. They will never let you flee. And this time, it no longer sounded like a warning. It sounded like a promise.